Hey everyone, while I'm working through the issue of which chassis to use in regards to whether the hamster ball will work, I figured I'd share my thoughts on how I'm going to motorize the ball once I have my design figured out. So a while ago, I had purchased this twin motor gearbox off of eBay. I would have bought it right around when the class had started because I was pretty interested in how we can use gears to draw more power from motors and work efficiently for us. So I picked this up. You can see on the back it's pretty Japanese, but we have the option of building a 58:1 gear ratio or a 203:1 gear ratio. This is what it looks like when it's fully assembled. You can see we have two motors. They're powered independently. However, they actually rotate the output shaft. It doesn't matter which one you use, because if you can look closely here, you'll see these set screws are actually holding a shaft that goes through both sets of gears. So regardless of which motor is running, both wheels are going to turn. These output shafts and the wheels are actually independent of each other. You can pull the pin out on one side or the other. However, this one across the middle acts as a bridge so that you can use one motor instead of two. For me, I'm going to attempt to cut that in half because I want the motors to work independently of one another. The instructions were fairly cryptic, but they weren't too bad. The instructions were obviously impossible to read, but the schematics were decent. I ended up building the A-type, I believe, which is, yep, so I built the A-type, so that's a 58:1 gear ratio. It came together fairly decently. It wasn't too hard. You'll see there's actually a step where pretty much everything just pushes together, and then you screw it all together and put the set screws into it. So that's the motors I'll be using. The wheels I pulled off of a cheap dollar store toy. They actually fit perfectly into the shaft here. I didn't actually glue this or anything. It just fit on as it should. I'll use the remaining two wheels hopefully just as support when this is inside of the ball. Now, because I want this to be able to move forward, backwards, and turn, I'm going to use an H-bridge, which I first learned about in this book. And you can see here, this is what the pinout looks like. It's an integrated circuit. And reading through this, this is actually a quadruple half-H driver, which means that it can operate on both motors and it can change the polarity or the direction of both motors. So this means that I can independently change the left wheel and the right wheel. So I can have the left wheel move forward and the right wheel move backwards, vice versa, or move in the same direction. So this provides the flexibility that I'll need to rotate around the ball and move forward and backwards. So this seems like a pretty good solution. I played with it, but only half of it. So I set up one motor. Have not set up two motors as of yet, so that'll be an interesting experiment as well. So all in all, the solution right now, I'm going to try this twin gearbox, use an H-bridge, use these very cheap and flimsy tires. I know that I'm going to have to weight this thing down because there's no grip on these, and it's fairly light, so I'll see how that will work as I get it built into the chassis and sort of frame this thing up. But stay tuned. We'll see how I make out cutting this bridge in the middle to see if I can get the motors to act independently.